Ever wondered why the chicken crossed the road? Well, history doesn't have an answer to that, but it does have some rather hilarious events and figures. Ready to dive in? Today we're embarking on a journey through time, exploring the absurdity of royal decrees, the facepalm moments of historical blunders, and the ludicrousness of wars. We'll even meet some of history's most amusing characters along the way, so buckle up, time travelers, as we cruise through the annals of history with a chuckle. Kings and queens have been known for their wisdom and prowess, but not all of their decrees were, well, sensible. Journey with me to the lavish halls of ancient Rome, where Emperor Caligula ruled with an iron fist and a peculiar sense of humor. In a move that surely raised eyebrows, Caligula appointed his favorite horse, Incitatus, as a consul. Yes, you heard that right. A horse. A consul. Let that sink in. This wasn't just any horse, mind you. Incitatus had a marble stall, an ivory manger, and even a house. And the senators? They were expected to pay their respects to this equestrian official. As we move forward in time to the 18th century, we find ourselves in the court of Prussia's Frederick the Great. His royal decree? A ban on coffee. Frederick believed that coffee interfered with the country's beer consumption. He even created a national drink, the beer soup, to replace the morning coffee. Imagine starting your day with a bowl of beer soup. The coffee police, or the secret coffee sniffers, were dispatched to enforce this decree, sniffing out illegal coffee brewing activities like a pack of hounds. Let's not forget about Emperor Nero of Rome, who in his grandeur declared victory in an Olympic chariot race even after he fell off his chariot and failed to finish the race. I guess when you're the emperor, you don't have to play by the rules. And then there's Queen Elizabeth I, who issued a decree limiting the number of hoops in a woman's petticoat. Apparently the size of the petticoats was becoming an issue in crowded places. Talk about a royal fashion police. These decrees may seem absurd to us, but they were the rule of the land at their time. They serve as a reminder that power can sometimes lead to some rather unusual decisions. So next time you question a rule, remember, it could have been worse. You could have been reporting to a horse. They say to err is human, but some errors in history were so colossal, they're downright laughable. Imagine, if you will, the year is 1867 and you're the Russian Tsar, Alexander II. You've got this chunk of icy wilderness on the other side of the globe that's costing you an arm and a leg to maintain. So what do? You sell it, of course. For a mere $7.2 million, Russia offloads what we now know as Alaska to the United States. Fast forward to today and that chunk of ice is now one of the richest sources of oil and minerals in the world. Whoops! Now let's rewind even further. Picture yourself in the bustling city of Alexandria around 48 BC. The city is home to the largest library the world has ever seen, filled to the brim with scrolls documenting scientific discoveries, literature, philosophy, and more. Then, along comes Julius Caesar, with a civil war to fight. To cut off his enemy's fleet, he sets fire to his own ships. The fire spreads, and before you know it, the great library of Alexandria is reduced to ashes, an incalculable loss to human knowledge, all because of a strategic miscalculation. Talk about a historical facepalm, and who can forget the time Napoleon thought it would be a good idea to invade Russia in the winter, or when the Trojans thought that big wooden horse was just a harmless gift. History is littered with these monumental blunders, each one a testament to human folly and a reminder that even great leaders can make mistakes. So the next time you make a mistake, remember, at least you didn't sell Alaska. War is no laughing matter, but some wars in history were so absurd, they're hard not to chuckle at. Let's begin with a tale from the 18th century. It's 1739, and Britain and Spain are at loggerheads. But this isn't your typical territorial dispute or power play. No, this war was sparked by an ear. Yes, you heard it right, an ear. This conflict, known as the War of Jenkins' Ear, began when a British captain named Robert Jenkins paraded his severed pickled ear in the British Parliament, claiming a Spanish Coast Guard had cut it off 7 years prior. The British, outraged at this audacious attack on one of their own, declared war on Spain. Imagine nations going to battle over an ear. Now let's hop over to the land of kangaroos and koalas. It's 1932, and Australia is in the throes of an unusual conflict, the Emu War. This wasn't a fight against another country, but a battle against, you guessed it, emus. With around 20,000 emus rampaging through the Western Australian wheat fields, eating and trampling crops, the Australian military was called in. Machine guns were brought out, and the battle against the birds commenced. But here's the kicker, the emus, they won. Yes, the military was outmaneuvered by a bunch of birds. It's hard to imagine a more absurd war than that. And these are just two examples. History is littered with such instances where the absurdity of human conflict is laid bare in all its glory. From fighting over buckets and pastry, to declaring war against birds and ears, we humans have shown an uncanny ability to escalate the trivial to the monumental. So next time you're in a trivial argument, remember, at least you're not declaring war over an ear or an emu. History is filled with figures who, intentionally or not, brought humor to their era. Let's take a walk down memory lane and chuckle at the quirks and humorous incidents of some of these figures. First up, we have Emperor Nero, the infamous Roman emperor. Known for his eccentricities, Nero was famous for his love of the arts, especially music and acting. He even participated in the Olympic Games, where he won every event he entered, including the chariot race, where he fell off his chariot but was still declared the winner. Now that's a level of confidence we could all aspire to. Next, we have King Louis XVI of France. This king was known for his indecisiveness and his love for locksmithing. Yes, you heard that right. The man who ruled France in one of its most tumultuous periods was more interested in making locks than making decisions. It's said that he even had a locksmithing workshop in the palace. Can you imagine a king fiddling with locks and keys while his kingdom was on the brink of a revolution? And let's not forget Emperor Caligula, another Roman emperor who was known for his eccentric and often cruel behavior. But one thing that stands out in his list of quirks was his love for his horse, Incitatus. Caligula loved this horse so much that he allegedly gave it a marble stable, an ivory manger, a house, and even planned to make it a consul. Talk about treating your pet like royalty. Finally, we have Tsar Peter III of Russia, who was known for his obsession with toy soldiers. It's said that he would often spend hours arranging and rearranging his toy soldiers, sometimes even neglecting state affairs for his playtime. So remember, no matter how weird you think you are, Nero has got you beat. So there you have it, a whirlwind tour of history's funniest moments. We've seen the absurdity of royal decrees, like that time when King Louis XIV of France decided he'd be the only one allowed to wear red heels. Talk about a fashion police. And who could forget the historical blunders that make you scratch your head and chuckle? Napoleon Bonaparte, one of the world's most famous strategists, being defeated by bunnies. That's a plot twist no one saw coming. We've also delved into the absurdity of wars. The War of Jenkins' Ear, for instance, where an ear, or the lack of it, caused a conflict that lasted for nearly a decade. Now that's what I call an irresistible story. And of course, history wouldn't be complete without its funny figures. Emperor Caligula making his horse a senator, or Tycho Brahe, the astronomer with a gold nose and a pet moose. They sure knew how to live life on the funny side. So, as we close this chapter of our laughable journey through history, let's remember that these stories, as absurd as they may seem, are part of what makes history so fascinating. They remind us that amid the seriousness of life, there's always room for a good laugh. And remember, history isn't just about kings, queens, and wars, it's also about the laughs. So keep smiling and stay tuned for more hilarious history.